All right, as you probably saw, we are taking a look at Pry Ford today. Yeah, in case you thought I was lying, there it is. This can be chaotic, right? So we're in Union Spawn right now. This is the stream we can cross. I'll quickly just note the location of the batteries and the artillery. It's on the Union left, so they have this battery down here, and the CSA battery, it's right. You can usually see the fixed caissons render in first, and then the CSA has a battery of comparable size up here on the high ground. So you can tell, I think you can tell by looking at it. Okay, that's the point of contention. Now we can't tell up this high, so we got to get down a little bit lower. Now it's clear that it's not quite as open. I mean, it's pretty open, but there are undulations in the terrain that are really key. Because cover is relatively sparse, you got to take it where it is. You got to know where it is. You got to know how to attack and to hold that key ground if you're going to do well. Is Pry Ford cap recap? Sure, it could be. And sometimes it is. Again, it's really a matter of whether the defenders are disciplined. If the defenders are hanging on to their out of lines and they're not giving them up, then it may well be. Especially if the CSA refuses to take too many melees and the arty is on point and it breaks up the Union attack. They might force the Union to try to cap early. But that may not happen. The Union can, by the way, the infantry can swing far to this left. There is a broken stone wall that the Union can use. By the way, CSA infantry spawn is right up that road. Kind of, if you see that tree just past the battery, that is the spawn there. And Union infantry can, if they want to go to Union left, they can try to get on that broken stone wall. It's not great even prone, shooting uphill. The CSA infantry, yeah, there is the hill that is here. There is a bit of a hill you could get. If you go prone, you'd be hard to hit. There's also, whoa, we almost slid right through. There's also a set of rocks here, so you could end up in a never-ending, kind of pointless skirmishing duel between those two. But Union infantry can actually come far up this snake fence, and from having played enough CSA arty, they can shoot into CSA arty. It's not the greatest idea in the world if the CSA are even somewhat alert, because they can just shoot into the side of any sort of sizable Union group here. And if you have to pull back, there isn't a whole lot of cover to pull back through, but it's an option. It's something to be aware of, particularly if you're close to going breaking as the CSA. And the Union's looking for, can we grab some skirmishing and out of lines just by plinking them rather than engaging in a costly and perhaps timely melee. I would say nowadays the more common meta, so this is, to confuse you even more, that's where we came out of, that's where you crossed the Pry Ford, your battery is there. And the Union will frequently, actually, they won't even expose themselves up here, they'll try to come back here. Alright, so the Union comes up, they come up here, they're trying hard not to be spotted, but there's really only like two ways that the Union are probably going to go, and it's frequently this way. And they will look to either try to use this fence for part of the way, but their goal is frequently this set of rocks. This set of rocks, why? Because point is right there. And it is worth saying something about the point, but related to the rocks, and I gotta try to get down to kind of man level height. And if you're too high, you're not gonna see it. There is, right around here, a defilade as the CSA. And if you're in it, yeah, I'd say that we're just about in the bottom of it here. If you're in this defilade and you're taking a knee, you're all but impossible to hit. It's going to be very hard to hit. Even if you wanted to creep up just a little bit here to support the guys who are at the rocks, you could do that. Pry Ford is notable in that both the Union and the CSA have cav regiments represented, and so there are Sharps rifles or Sharps carbines, yeah, so there is that part of it, and so you got to watch out for those pistols in melee. Point itself, it's a bit of a mound, right? It's a mound. what the Union may try to do, particularly if they're looking to cap early or when they're looking to cap late, you can see that further past the point of contention, we're looking at it off in the distance there, the fixed caissons. They will frequently try to get behind this hill, maybe take a knee, so that they're very hard to hit by infantry, and CSA arty can hit them if they know how to airburst it. It's hard to do with an impact hit if the Union knows how to position themselves, but again, it's knowing those kind of like little defilade things, and then the push is the push up to, and then there are these points, there are these rocks on the point that are frequently held. I could say as CSA arty, these rocks are the easiest thing in the world to hit. This is absolutely within canister range, particularly now that you can double and triple pack it. But while it's open for the attackers, which feels kind of bad, it's also pretty open and sparsely defended for the defenders. There are these rocks back here near the arty that are kind of too far away for much of the infantry stuff to matter. This set of rocks, you will see some rock formation hopping, and sometimes the Union will come from that fence, they'll try to get near these rocks, and the CSA almost always has a group that is down here, and this group is kind of tasked with defending this side of the point from anybody who might be trying to push a kind of center lane, which is a real no man's land. A frequent Union build-up point when they're looking to either play cap recap or just to cap and win is this clump of trees, and there are some rocks back here giving hard cover. Again, as CSA arty, it's the easiest thing in the world to see because it's such an open map and it's a clump of trees and rocks, and yeah, there is hard cover here. But in terms of CSA infantry worrying about skirmishing with these guys, if the Union want to sit back here and skirmish the entire map, just make sure you're in formation, or you are very hard to hit when you're in skirmishing, and the Union will never plink enough tickets off of you to get you to breaking before the map ends. Arty is a big X factor on this map. The infantry options, again, just because the map itself doesn't have a whole lot, there are the undulations, there are the rare pieces of hard or soft cover that can make a difference. So knowing those and using them to your maximum advantage is important. The arty duel can be important. It feels like the CSA, just being on high ground, kind of have the advantage. Certainly Union arty can begin the game by opening up on CSA arty, and they can spend the entire map just slaughtering each other. It's probably a trade if it ends up being 50-50 tickets. The CSA, this is one where the defenders have a real ticket disadvantage. And sometimes it's the CSA that if they go down early, that they need to play cap recap, and the Union may not want to because they have that sizable tickets lead and they want to protect it. But it can be challenging for the CSA to castle up too much on this map if the Union arty is abundant and knowledgeable. Because they're just gonna get wrecked almost anywhere they go. But sometimes the Union have to push those guns up in order to get depression and angles on some of the CSA positions. But I would say that the meta as it has evolved has mostly been a push on the Union right, the CSA left, for control of this side of the point. This whole kind of back area here, that set of rocks certainly matters. And it seems to be the kind of key to holding this point. Yeah, I think that's it. It doesn't have to be longer than what I've done here. This can be an absolute bloodbath if both sides are generally in formation. There are a lot of tickets, and if the Union has to play cap recap and give more tickets to the CSA, you can see casualty counts easily climb over 2,000 on this one. So it's a fun map.